The name Auschwitz casts a long shadow over human history. It is a name synonymous with the depths of human cruelty and the capacity for evil that exists within mankind. It stands as a stark reminder of the horrors perpetrated during the Holocaust, a period that saw the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews, along with millions of others deemed undesirable by the Nazi regime. This genocide, orchestrated by Nazi Germany during World War II, was a meticulously planned and executed campaign of terror and murder. Established in 1940, Auschwitz evolved from a single concentration camp into a vast complex of camps, each with its own specific function in the Nazis' genocidal machinery. Encompassing Auschwitz I, the main camp, which served as the administrative center and initial site of imprisonment, Auschwitz II-Birkenau, the extermination camp, where the majority of the mass killings took place in gas chambers designed for efficient mass murder, and Auschwitz III Monowitz, a labor camp where prisoners were forced into grueling work under inhumane conditions, often leading to death from exhaustion, malnutrition, and abuse. This network of camps became a symbol of Nazi brutality, a place where the regime's ideology of racial purity and anti-Semitism was brutally enforced. Over 1 million innocent people, primarily Jews, were systematically murdered here, their lives extinguished in the most horrific ways imaginable. The sheer scale of the atrocities committed at Auschwitz is difficult to comprehend. The industrial nature of the killings, the cold efficiency with which human lives were destroyed, is a chilling testament to the depths of human depravity. Yet it is essential that we remember and learn from this dark chapter in human history. The lessons of Auschwitz are not just historical, they are a warning of what can happen when hatred and bigotry are allowed to flourish unchecked. Auschwitz serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of unchecked hatred, prejudice, and the erosion of human values. It is a place where the consequences of intolerance and dehumanization are laid bare for all to see. It is a place where the depths of human cruelty were laid bare, where millions were stripped of their dignity, their rights, and ultimately their lives. The stories of those who suffered and perished here are a somber testament to the need for vigilance against such atrocities. The prisoners were not just numbers, they were individuals with dreams, families, and futures that were brutally cut short. Their suffering and loss are a stark reminder of the human cost of hatred. The world must never forget the victims of Auschwitz, nor the lessons learned from their suffering. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that such horrors are never repeated. Through education, remembrance, and a commitment to human rights, we can honor the memory of those who perished and work towards a future where such atrocities are unthinkable. Auschwitz stands as a solemn reminder of the past and a call to action for the present and future. The origins of Auschwitz can be traced back to a former Polish army barracks complex located near the town of Auschwitz in occupied Poland. Initially established as a concentration camp for Polish political prisoners, Auschwitz rapidly expanded under the direction of the SS, the Nazi paramilitary organization responsible for overseeing the camp system. As the Nazi regime implemented its genocidal plan to exterminate European Jews, Auschwitz underwent a chilling transformation. Auschwitz II-Birkenau, a much larger camp located a few kilometers away, was constructed specifically for the purpose of mass murder. Birkenau's sprawling layout, dominated by gas chambers and crematoria, reflected its sinister purpose: to efficiently eliminate as many people as possible. The transformation of Auschwitz from a detention center to a killing factory marked a horrifying escalation in the Nazis' campaign of genocide. What began as a place of imprisonment for political opponents quickly morphed into a vast killing ground, where the lives of millions were extinguished with ruthless efficiency. Entering Auschwitz I, one is immediately struck by the chilling juxtaposition of normalcy and horror. The entrance gate, with its unassuming facade, belies the dark history that lies beyond. As visitors pass through, they are stepping into a place where the echoes of the past still resonate deeply. The camp's neat rows of brick buildings, once Polish military barracks, belie the unspeakable atrocities that unfolded within their walls. These structures, which might appear ordinary at first glance, were the backdrop to some of the most horrific events in human history. Each brick, each wall, has absorbed the cries and whispers of those who suffered here. Above the main gate, the cynical inscription "Arbeit macht frei," meaning "work sets you free," mocks the prisoners who passed beneath it, offering a false promise of liberation through labor. This phrase, intended to deceive and manipulate, stands as a stark reminder of the cruelty and psychological torment inflicted upon the inmates. Inside the camp, visitors encounter the remnants of a meticulously organized system designed to dehumanize and ultimately eliminate its victims. The layout of the camp, with its precise and calculated design, reveals the cold efficiency with which the Nazis carried out their genocidal plans. Every corner of this place was engineered to strip away humanity and hope. Barracks, originally designed to house a few hundred soldiers, were crammed with thousands of prisoners, forced to live in unimaginable squalor and deprivation. The living conditions were beyond harsh, they were inhumane. Prisoners were packed into these spaces like sardines with little regard for their health or dignity. Disease and starvation were rampant, and the barracks became a breeding ground for despair. The camp's administration building, once a symbol of order and authority, became the nerve center for the machinery of death, where SS bureaucrats meticulously documented the arrival, imprisonment, and extermination of countless human beings. This building, which might have once represented structure and governance, was transformed into a hub of systematic murder. The cold, calculated efficiency of the administration is a chilling testament to the industrial scale of the Holocaust. Walking through Auschwitz I, one is confronted with the chilling reality of a place where human life was systematically extinguished, where every brick, every building bears silent witness to unimaginable suffering. The silence of the camp is deafening, as if the very air is heavy with the memories of those who perished here. Each step taken within these grounds is a step back in time, a step into a dark chapter of human history that must never be forgotten. The experience is profoundly moving, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts and minds of all who visit. Section 4. Labor and Annihilation, the daily existence of Auschwitz prisoners. For the prisoners of Auschwitz, daily life was an unending struggle for survival against overwhelming odds. Upon arrival, they were stripped of their possessions, their identities reduced to numbers tattooed on their arms. Families were torn apart, their members dispersed throughout the camp system, often never to see each other again. Prisoners were subjected to backbreaking forced labor, toiling in factories, fields, or construction sites, often until they collapsed from exhaustion or starvation. The meager rations provided by the SS were barely enough to sustain life, leaving prisoners chronically hungry and vulnerable to disease. The constant threat of violence and death permeated every aspect of camp life. Arbitrary beatings, torture, and executions were commonplace, carried out by SS guards who wielded absolute power over their victims. For the prisoners of Auschwitz, each day was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable cruelty and deprivation. Section 5. Birkenau, the Factory of Death. This section delves into the harrowing details of Birkenau, a place synonymous with the industrial-scale extermination of human lives. If Auschwitz I represented the systematic dehumanization of the Nazi regime's victims, stripping them of their identities and reducing them to mere numbers, Birkenau embodied the cold, industrial efficiency of its extermination program. It was a place where the machinery of death operated with ruthless precision, designed to annihilate human lives on an unprecedented scale. Vast in scale, Birkenau was divided into numerous sections, each meticulously planned and constructed to serve a specific function in the process of mass murder. Each section was designed for a specific stage in the process of mass murder, from arrival and selection to extermination and disposal. Upon arrival at the camp's railway ramp, prisoners were greeted by the harsh reality of their fate. They were subjected to a brutal selection process, where SS officers and doctors determined their fate with a flick of the wrist. This selection process was a cold and calculated method to separate those deemed fit for labor from those marked for immediate death. Those deemed unfit for labor, primarily the elderly, the sick, and young children, were sent directly to the gas chambers. These gas chambers were disguised as shower facilities to prevent panic and ensure the process remained orderly. The gas chambers themselves were designed for mass killing, with the capacity to murder thousands of people simultaneously using Zyklon B, a cyanide-based pesticide. Zyklon B was chosen for its efficiency and lethality, ensuring that the victim's suffering was swift, though no less horrific. The gas chambers were a grim testament to the industrial-scale cruelty of the Nazi regime, where human lives were extinguished with chilling efficiency. The bodies of the victims were then transported to the nearby crematoria, where they were incinerated. This process was designed to erase all physical traces of the victims. Their ashes were scattered in the wind, a final act of erasure that sought to obliterate their existence from memory. The empty fields and remnants of the crematoria at Birkenau stand as silent witnesses to the atrocities committed here. Birkenau stands as a chilling testament to the depravity of the Nazi regime, a place where the machinery of death operated with ruthless efficiency. It is a stark reminder of the depths of human cruelty and the capacity for evil when ideology and power go unchecked. The memorial plaques and images of over 1 million victims serve as a poignant reminder of the lives lost and the horrors endured. Birkenau is not just a historical site, it is a solemn reminder of the consequences of hatred and intolerance.